What I'd like to do in 1989, I was going to China. I had been going to China since 1984 with Marty Weiss from Pan America when he first had the contracts for the China Mint coins, started in 1982. And by 1989, I was ready to and had the connections to sign a contract for a program called the Dragon Phoenix coin program. Beautiful coin, it turned out to be one of the most popular coins today. We were the first ones that came up with a 2-ounce gold, a 2-ounce silver, a 20-ounce gold, a 20-ounce silver. In 1989, I remember we were having a hard time selling the 20-ounce gold coins for $10,000. Today, they're $200,000 minimum. I went to China to sign the contract in May of 1989. The Tiananmen Square demonstrations had already started, and I had landed within 20 minutes of Gorbachev from Russia, his plane. He had come for a prior scheduled state visit. What most people don't know, and my hosts from the China Mint and the Bank of China had told me, was that because of the student demonstrators in Tiananmen Square, which is a huge square, you can't even begin to conceptualize how big it is, and students had been filling it for a long time. Because of the demonstrations in Tiananmen Square, they could not walk Gorbachev through the front, in the front of the Great Hall of the People, which they would do for a state visit. They did it for Nixon when he came in '74. They wanted to do it for Gorbachev. They literally had to bring him around the back door. Chinese lost face. The government lost face is what my contacts had told me, my translators had told me. And they said that 3 weeks later, June 4th, that was one of the reasons why they came down so hard on the students, because they were embarrassed that they could not show the proper respect they thought Gorbachev had been entitled to. So that's a little background that a lot of people don't know about the Tiananmen Square demonstrations. So I'm in Beijing during the demonstrations. I left about a week before the June 4th ending of the demonstrations. And what I have here, and I just discovered these 2 months ago, I had some mini cassette that I had filmed with a big, heavy Panasonic camera, probably bigger than what David has right now. And I had 4 different cassettes that I turned into one DVD. We've just fast forwarded, because I didn't want to bore you with street scenes of Beijing from 25 years ago, to when we went to the Shanghai Mint after I signed the contract. So what we're going to show you now, and bear with me, I'm going to try to fast forward, stop, and do what I can. If anybody has any questions, let me know. I'm going to show you some scenes from the Shanghai Mint, and you'll see them actually striking some silver and some gold coins, which is a rare opportunity. It's hard to get pictures like this at especially video. In fact, I don't think there's any video, aside from maybe what Coin World or what David might have done, of the US Mint. There's pictures, but not video. So this is kind of special, and it's 25 years old. So let's try this and see what happens. Hold on a second, can I do it from here? Right, yeah, and I'm trying, let's see if I do. I'm on the, maybe okay. You can tell me, am I?
You're on the triangle. Yeah, go ahead. Click. You're way off again. Here, let me have that up.
Maybe, I'll let you do it. Oh, I was looking there. Okay. I'll try to narrate this as we go along. That looks like the blank planchets. Okay. Those are actually 5-ounce gold God of Wealth coins, as I recall. You can see how large it is in the gentleman's hand. Right, that's not a legal tender coin, it's a metal. And you can see how the employees are holding special cloths to make sure that fingerprints and dust contaminants don't get on the coins or the planchets. He's putting a planchet into the press. And I videotaped this, and I'm not an expert, so I apologize if the camera's shaky. Wiping the dies, taking any grease or machinery oil off it. Puts the planchet. You'll see the top die come down in just a second, I believe. Those were German coin presses, as I recall at the time. One strike, two strikes. And I think they may even do this 3 times, I'm not sure. Yep, okay, 3 times, right. To get all the features filled up and to have enough striking pressure. And that's what it looked, that's the one you just saw being struck. You see the plastic capsules, they immediately go into the plastic capsules. There's some better scenes of them striking some silver coins coming up, so bear with me. And we can hear the audio up here, but it's all in Chinese, so you're really not missing anything. No. I tried to get samples of the errors that they showed me, and they wouldn't even let me have one as a souvenir. Most mints take pride of manufacturing, and they don't like their errors to get out. Now, this, I think, is going to be a silver coin. Yeah. You see, they placed the blank planchet, or the planchet. It went down into the collar. Now the design is being struck. The metal expands a little bit, and the reading is put on as the coin expands slightly against the collar that has the reading. Today, the presses for both BU and commemorative coins in all mints, China and the United States, are much, much faster. The Germans have come up with a horizontal press that strikes coins this way. They strike over 60 coins a minute, coin a second. These are all the mint employees. To be honest, on these, I don't know. I know for like a Lincoln cent, I believe it's 60 to 65 tons of pressure. It goes up to 80 tons for like maybe a half a dollar or a dollar. So it's something around there. My guess, 60 to 70, 80, or maybe even 90 tons of pressure for a bigger diameter coin.
Yeah, those are big.
Yeah. Those look like 5-ounce silvers. And that's obviously a much smaller coin. You see him picking it up with tongs, pressing it. The person right at the top, you can see just the white glove, is inspecting them after they're struck for errors or defects. The U.S. Mint today has a audio-visual or a visual component where they check the coins as they're struck, and anything that doesn't fit a predetermined perfect picture of a coin gets rejected. That's why there's so few errors that have come out in the last 10 or 12 years from the U.S. Mint. He's holding an air gun to blast away, again, any dust or contaminants that may be in that area. This is video that is very unusual to see. If the coin was not placed into the collar and it was on top of the collar, it would be broad struck, because the coin is literally broadly struck not retained in the collar. And if the planchet was on top of the collar and not seated directly on top of it, you'd have an off-center strike. You're all seeing this video for the first time in 26 years, and Monday I'm going to send the DVD or the flash drive to somebody in China to show it to the Shanghai Mint, where I've been told they've heard about the fact that I have this just in the last few weeks, and they're chomping at the bit to see this also. And they'll be able to understand the audio portion. It's an air thing to blast off, you know, like the cans we use in the computer area now. And it's a much more sophisticated process in China now. That's why this is a great little slice of history to show. China was just coming into the world, and some of the street scenes that are prior on this video show the streets in Shanghai that probably don't exist anymore. They've all been built up. You've seen the pictures of Shanghai and the tall buildings and everything. So this is literally like a slice of ancient times almost, a quarter of a century ago. Well, these particular coins appear to be commemoratives or collector coins, not circulation coins. I believe after this, there's some video I took outside the Shanghai Mint where you'll see these huge bars of aluminum. When I was going to China in 1989, all of their circulating coinage was aluminum, because aluminum was cheap, and China was not a wealthy country 25, 26 years ago. So yes, they had gold and silver coins that they were making then, but as far as circulation, it was all aluminum. And these very large bars of aluminum ingots, bigger than anything I've ever seen, were all over the grounds of the Shanghai Mint, because at that time there was only one mint. There's 3 mints today, and the Shanghai Mint had to strike coins for all of China, and that's why I think they used aluminum, because it was the most affordable. As a historical note, the front of the Shanghai Mint, which I hope you'll see towards the end of this video, the first time I drove up to it in 1984 was very disconcerting, because it looked exactly like a mini version of the old Philadelphia Mint, which it turns out it was. The United States Mint in Philadelphia sold or gave away to China in the 20s a lot of their old used presses, and to honor that friendship deal, the Chinese designed the Shanghai Mint to look like the Philadelphia Mint. So it looks like a little mini Philadelphia Mint, like you would see at Disneyland, you know, a miniature version of something. I believe that's at the end of the video. I'm not 100% sure. The coins are struck much faster today, obviously. Everything is automated. The mintages are higher for a lot of the coins, but they had quite a bit of pride of manufacturing. Look at that. Those are great little videos of the minting process. A blank goes in, one hit. You can see the design from the first strike, but then the design gets stronger, a little bit higher, more fully struck on the second strike. I could tell that's the reverse on the top. The blank. Pardon? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Did they use these same machines for their national currency, or were those different machines?
I believe they used different machines, because I think the machines that were striking the circulation coins in aluminum were much faster, and obviously they're not fed in one at a time, because I don't know what the mintages are for the Chinese one fen, and all the different denominations, but it's hundreds of millions or possibly billions even back then, so I'm sure it was a different set. This is now kind of like the backyard of the Shanghai Mint, and I believe, I don't know if we were walking, there we go. That's another part of the manufacturing process. I believe those are the struck coins coming down a theater chute. Oh, hold on. And those round things are not the ingots we were discussing, but those were new coin presses, as I recall, that also were from Germany, and those big wooden crates on the left. And I believe we'll walk out the front and this is a picture of the first picture of the 1989 5-ounce, I believe 5-ounce silver panda coin. I was there in May of '89, and they just had the design then. So I can't remember exactly when these were issued, but it was probably 4 or 5 months later. That's the 1-ounce gold design, it looks like. We can fast forward that a little bit. That's their conference room. We're going to fast.
We go back,
Yeah, that I think was the restaurant we went to lunch in. That's not the Mint. I'm pretty sure. Or maybe a side building. It's definitely not the front of the Shanghai Mint. Oh, and they were allowed to bring their children. They had daycare. I've got some still pictures of their daycare center in Shanghai. See if you can fast forward a little bit. In meals like this, I would eat sparrow, eel, tortoise, scorpion. Some of the most exotic food I've ever had in my life was in Beijing and Shanghai. Okay, so I'm not sure. No. It looks like we're maybe towards the end. Fast forward a little bit more. These are just average street scenes, and I think coming up at some point, that's what I look like in 1989. I didn't realize I dyed my hair black at that time. Okay, fast forward a little bit more. That's their little, what they call there's a picture. Yeah, that's right, keep on going. This is like a little show place. As you can see, it says Shanghai Mint, where they would show some of the coins that they made. It's much more sophisticated now. And I've been told that a picture of Marty Weiss and I from Pan America that was taken in 1984 is still in this shop. These are some of the products that the China Mint was selling at the time. Fast forward a little bit more. I don't know. Try to get to some interesting segments. That's the picture I was talking about. That picture was from 1984, 5 years earlier, and it's still in that same building today.
Well, you were a little thinner.
Yeah, thinner, darker. Anyway, okay, so
Okay.
we fast forward a little bit. That was from my hotel rooms. I think what may be coming up next, and we'll just show a little bit of it, we couldn't get anywhere near Tiananmen Square because of the student demonstrations. But what I filmed, and I've never seen on any newscast, on CNN, on Fox, never even mentioned, was blocks away from Tiananmen Square, the guilds. There was a baker's guild, there was a clothing guild, our equivalent of a union. Those were people that were demonstrating in support of the students. I may be flying from Shanghai to Beijing here, I can't tell. Or is that coming back? No, we're back. Okay, so these, okay, you'll see all the signs. These are the average Beijing person. Those are all people in different guilds, different unions, showing support for the students. Tiananmen Square is a few blocks away from there. But none of this was ever mentioned, that there was such popular support for the students. CNN and all the news reports were in Tiananmen Square interviewing people. They never showed any of this outside. This was the happiest I had ever seen the Chinese people so emotive and emotional. The first time I went there, I remember walking on the Great Wall of China with our hosts from the Bank of China and the China Mint. And at that time, the Chinese people that were there also taking a tour of the mint as tourists, a lot of the men, almost all of the men, were in their People's Army green uniforms. They were afraid to even talk to an American in 1984. And so 5 years later, to see how happy everybody was in support of the student demonstrations for democracy was an eye-opener for me. I think we're back. This is now Beijing still. See if you can fast forward some of that. We'll try to find some better video of something. But if not, I think that's pretty much a good little encapsulation of some gold and silver coins. I was holding up a picture of my daughter who was born in March of '89. This is me signing the contract for the Dragon Phoenix program. And it was considered an honor to be able to have your own program, because at that time it was just Taisei Stamp and Coins of Japan, one company in Germany, Hand America, and a company called MTB in New York had exclusive rights. So we were one of the first non-big boys to have our own coin program, and we had about 4 programs from 1989 to 1995. In street scenes of Beijing. Notice all the bicycles. Nobody has bicycles anymore, they all have cars. And I'm sure you've seen the pictures of the smog and how bad it is. Up until I went to Beijing, I thought Los Angeles, where I was born and raised, had the worst smog. Not compared to Beijing today, for sure. Took many, many months of negotiations to do this. That's probably it.
That's probably it.
Yeah, what is it, 1 hour 18? Go a little bit faster, see if we can find something. I might have gone back. This may be the end of the Beijing, Shanghai Mint numismatic section of the video, I'm not sure. So we're gonna fast forward real quick. More demonstrators in support of the students with the flags. Again, none of this was ever shown or even notated in any of the news reports, which I found amazing. That there was so much support from the average person in Beijing. All the signs are saying, we support the students, we support the democracy movement. And it was massive, and it was for blocks and blocks and for days and days, because this is one of the first times that they could actually show support. So it was a very emotional situation. This looks like a dinner, not lunch, probably after the signing that evening. Well, Should we stop it? Oh. They're all yelling out support for the students again. I don't think even today the government would allow this to take place. Yeah, you look at this, how massive it is. Again, and this is not Tiananmen Square. This is a couple of blocks away. The people that couldn't get to Tiananmen Square, and Tiananmen Square was packed with people. Should we stop and
What?
we'll stop and do your thing.
Okay.
So